Take three. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gears for the Common Game yet again. This is I don't know, my computer just eat the first two versions of this video. We're going to try it again. Tuvasa is probably a really good merfolk general. I didn't build that with her. She is all three merfolk colors because we dipped into white and Lorwyn and, of course, into green and Ixalan. I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't go there. I wanted to go the big flashy enchantment route, but except minus the big or flashy part. Anyway, she gets +1 for each enchantment, and you cast your first enchantment spell, you draw a card. Now, R&D tells us that the reason why that is that way is because they want you to cast a big enchantments that matter, like, one per turn, instead of just a whole bunch of little ones, which is, it's fine. We've got all that. So, I already have all these cards in the perfect order since I've done this twice now. So we're going to start with our ramp. Of course, we have Harrow, Cultivate, Explosive Vegetation to try to get out there and to get the correct colors that we need. She is one specific of 3 different colors. Of course, Artifact Mana, Soul Ring, Commander Sphere, Manalith, Obelisk of Bant, and Spellbook, just because I don't have a Reliquary Tower. Got to have something in here. She is going to draw some cards, and we have some creatures that are going to draw some cards in our standard Enchantress suite. The Mesa, the Verduran. I've always loved this art. Maybe I'm just partial, because never mind. Satyr Enchanter. Idonna Blossoms. Glad to have that reprint. I would love to have the Argothian, but she's just kind of, out of range at the moment. Blessed Spirits is really, really good because, it comes on a flying body and it's going to get really big. You have a Maya Enchantress. Yeah, I have like a dozen of these foiled. It's weird. Herald of the Pantheon. Proud to see that. More, not so much for the life gain, but to cost less. Archetype's going to, it's worth 6 mana to me. It really is. Shrygon Predator, because we need dudes and we need removal, and this is really good. I wish I'd have dug back in the old binder and got the original art, though, because this is, I don't know. You would think they'd have made that a dinosaur retroactively if they're going to use that art. Fountain Watch, at my friendly local game store, Collector's Connection, I was able to go in, and he had 1 Fountain Watch left from way back in the day. Love it. Now, Psychosis Crawler is pretty much our, it's an alt-win condition, because we're drawing so many cards from the Enchantresses and our General and stuff like that. Enchantress Presence is going to help that along. I don't foresee card draw being a problem here, because we have so many, our Commander has card draw on it. Now, Sphere of Safety, just because it is amazing in a deck with full of enchantments. We all know copy enchantment is good, but I think Estratification is better because it has that whole Vesuvian doppelganger thing where you can change it, and it's beautiful. Sandworm Convergence is going to give us a ground force. Doesn't really work with the archetype that well, but let's face it, getting a 5/5, or if you're copying this thing, yeah, it can get real bad real quick. Vernal Equinox I'm playing with just to play with, to be honest with you. Yes, it helps everybody out with creatures and enchantments having flash, but, that's just about everything in our deck. So, Shielded by Faith. We're probably putting it in there for our General, but, the ability that you can change it, although I'm probably going to leave it wherever I put it, because wherever I put it, it's probably going to have the pariah on it, so that I just don't have to take damage. Now, speaking of not taking damage, Energy Field. I like Energy Field. Now, it's not the end-all, be-all. This is just, the whole purpose is just to buy you a turn or two. If it can just buy you some time to put together the last few pieces of your puzzle, then that's what Energy Field is there for. It's not a forever enchantment. Kind of like the Mystic Remore is not a forever enchantment. It's just there to draw you some cards till you feel you've gotten your value, and then it's time for it to go. Now, Dictate of Heliod, Gaia's Anthem, Spear of Heliod, Favorable Winds. Of course, Favorable Winds is with the archetype and the levitation's gonna, and you're thinking, well, there's not a whole lot of creatures. Well, Siege of the Empty Throne is too good not to play. It's I think it's been in all these enchantment decks, but you know what? It's really good. Yes, it's 5 mana. It does not impact the board when it hits, but making 4/4 Angels is kind of neat. Ancestral Mask on Tuvasa, which, by the way, sounds like she belongs on the Voyager. Just saying. Anyway, on her, this is outstanding. Now, granted, one small note here. Ancestral Mask sees all of them in play, even the ones you don't control. So I was really floored it was not in the deck because enchantments have been moved to the forefront. We're going to see more than we ever have. Which is another reason why this card, I guess +1 counters and enchantments doesn't really quite go well together, but hey, I'll take any power bump to my commander I can get. Ivory Mask just flat out keeps us safe. Spiritual Asylum, kind of the same way. Your creatures and lands have Shroud, and of course when you attack, here again, this just buys you time in case you're... because I predict a lot of people... I know I'm going to be running more enchantment removal in my non-enchantment decks. Just saying, it's gonna help out a bunch. Now, Starfield of Nyx. I don't know. Not really too expensive to put in the deck. They chose not to. Not really new enough to where they're making money off the packs people are trying to buy to open these, but I don't know. I just build decks. That's kind of just what I do. But anyway, it's really, really good. You get an enchantment back a turn. And yeah, if I wasn't playing with like Mystic Grimoire, I guess I could do multiple upkeeps. But anyway. And then it kind of does a Opalescence impersonation at the end there, where you just, all your enchantments sprout legs and just start beating people in the face. That was of course, a really, really old deck, like back in the day, the Opalescence Replenish, and it was fueled by Attunement, which is a card drawing machine. Karmic Justice, also pretty decent, just keeping it level. Fecundity may be a slot that I can, put that big double strike lifelink enchantment or an Argothian or something. I'm not really... I don't know. I'm not really... It feels like a hole filler. I ain't got a whole lot of dudes, and it feels like it might help my opponents a little more than me. Now, last few enchantments here. Circles of Protection. Now, when Circles of Protection came out, they came out in Alpha. I learned how to play around, I don't know, what was it? Legends, Dark, somewhere thereabouts. And Circles of Protection were kind of frowned upon. Just because people felt that, it was a cheap way to play. Cheap as in inexpensive and cheap as in skillless. But now, Urza Saga, there have been several iterations of these over the years, obviously, but Urza Saga gave us some cycling ones. But I chose these because, well, they have a colorless, they have a generic activation, and the runes have a white activation. So in a 3-color deck, I figured this was a little bit better, and it will buy you the time. They're enchantments. They prevent damage. This is everything the deck wants to be doing. Just saying. Circles of Protection. Also called Cop Black, Cop Blue, Cop whatever, Martial Coup, Winds of Wrath, and Planar Outburst, of course, going to help clear the board of what we can't really deal with. Soul Snare. I like Soul Snare. I think this is a great card. Enchantment. It kind of does a path swords thing without the upside for your opponent. And really, if it ain't attacking me, I ain't kind of worried about it anyway, on the few rare exceptions like a crawler or whatever. Seal of Cleansing is, of course, my disenchant. Seal of Primordium, my naturalize. Negate and Counterspell in there for mainly. Okay, listen. If you run the blue deck and you have a Cyclonic Rift, it should probably be in there. Cyclonic Rift is a card that doesn't really define our format, but it does at the same time. It is really good, and it is something that we have to play around until it's dealt with. But that's why you see me run a lot of negates, a lot of counterspells and stuff like that in a, it's just a 1-2 of in decks, is because, and it's not just for the Rift, it's Rift and cards like Rift. The big, giant blowout cards. Fumble. I like some fumble because here again, auras, and Voltron's always been a thing, but auras are kind of way more popular than they were. And to be able to gain control of all them jokers and attach it to what I want to sounds pretty sweet. Crystal Chimes. I was going to get them back from the yard, which is kind of cool. Puts them to your hand. Open the Vaults is going to just straight put them into play. And the last card I have is Wargate. By the way, this is where the last version of the video cut off on me at. So Wargate, yeah, I know you've seen it in a couple of the other enchantment decks, but it's so specific to being these 3 colors and X. And yes, you can. I have Wargated for a land because it says X or less, and I knew I had a Soul Ring in the deck, and I had gotten screwed on land, but anyway, I didn't have a Soul Ring in that deck. But anyway, it's good. It fits. Yes, if you've got the Idyllic Tutor or the Enlightened Tutor, those are great cards that run, obviously. But Wargate's what I got, and, it's magically the colors of the deck. So that is what I have got for Tuvasa, the science officer of the USS Voyager. And I do appreciate y'all watching. I apologize there was no list yesterday. Y'all let me know what you think. I think right now we're going to shuffle and cut. Yay, we